What the heck is a Neuro-Emotional Mental Performance Coach? This week, Shane and I talked to Leila Entezam, who has spent decades studying high performers, their strengths and weaknesses, and guess what? Sometimes they come from the same place. Leila shared insights about the traps we set for ourselves, the ones that make us feel stuck and hold us back from growing. So, back to the question, what is a Neuro-Emotional Mental Performance Coach? Let Leila enlighten you.
Yes, I'm a neuro-emotional performance coach. And what that means is it's the intersection of neuroscience, psychology, and EQ, emotional intelligence, and putting those together. And so it gives you an understanding of what you do, why you do it, where your blind spots are, and how to create behavior change from this deeper, more sustained place because you have a more comprehensive understanding of why you're driven to do certain things. I have an undergrad degree in neuroscience, and I was pre-med, but I just really struggled my way through it. I'm an immigrant, and I think that entrepreneurship is sort of in our bloodlines. And I switched to an MBA, and that was like a piece of cake. It wasn't like swimming upstream, even though I had deep love for the stuff that I had learned in undergrad. And so I spent a couple decades in the business world, all different levels, interim CEO, project work, you name it. And then something else was still kind of always missing in that realm. And so I went back to school and got another master's in psychology, and I became a licensed mental health therapist, not to practice clinically, but as a way to become really immersed in understanding through thousands of hours of training and education, what drives human behavior and change at a sustainable level. And those things just kind of, one thing led to another, and I started coaching, and then I started coaching executives and more elite executives and other high performers. And my introduction to high performers really started with my brother. And I saw the ways in which it was a gift and a curse. And so seeing these high performers in that realm, and then seeing how much they rely on their cognitive abilities, but disconnect so often from their emotional abilities, and wanting to bridge the gap, knowing that it takes someone with a specific understanding of that population.
As a business owner, can you give some tips and tricks on essentially what exactly you focus on for entrepreneurs like myself or business owners that are evolving at a very high level?
So what happens is you have the cognitive mental strength. Great job. But you're leaving out all these other data sets. The data set of your emotional awareness, the data set of your somatic awareness, and the more you attune to those voices and grow your self-awareness in those spaces, the more you essentially optimize your choices because you're making them more comprehensively. So I have a tool in the book called Setup. So the S is for your somatics, the E is for your emotions, the T is for your thoughts. The U is for what else is in your universe. Are you excited about a vacation? Did you just get in a fight with a loved one? And the P is for your physiology. How well did you sleep? Are you hungry? When was the last time you had a bowel movement? All of these things affect the decisions that you make at any given time. And being a higher performer, you typically are relying heavily on the ones that you are strong in, and you leave a lot of those other ones out or consider them minimally, as opposed to, again, through our work, learning to optimize that by dialing up the awareness of all of those other factors.
With all of these things that you've been talking about, a little bit of your tactics and kind of some of the methodology that you have, what's one extremely tactical piece of advice or a really powerful mental framework that you use daily that other entrepreneurs or somebody listening to this podcast could basically immediately apply?
So I would say the setup tool, because you can immediately apply that. But if the setup tool feels like too much and you really want to start at the basics, it would be to grow your self-awareness. You can't change something you're not aware of. And so the things that you can do to grow your self-awareness, somatically, cognitively, emotionally, physically, whatever. So whether that's journaling, meditation, coaching, somatic exercises, and pick any one of them. But if you were going to do one thing, it would be, what are the things that would help you grow your self-awareness?
Do you see your setup tool and your process being easier or more adaptable with AI, or do you see it as a threat?
Well, I actually think increasingly about AI and how it'll play into just our behavior and our decision making as a whole, and coupled with then thinking about some of these tools. And I think that sure, the capacity and the potential for AI is endless, but as it stands today, it is more about the data processing, the speed, less of like that emotional, intuitive realm. And so if you strengthen that emotional, intuitive, somatic realm, coupled with having more data, faster, more accurate, etc., it can only empower you. If you strengthen these muscles while using those tools, it can only empower you further.
From your experience, what do you see as a main or common denominator for people who feel very stuck in their worlds or their lives?
And so a lot of times if I stay stuck, then there's comfort in that, or there is, the fear of the other is greater than this. It's familiar. I don't know where to go. So there's a lot of ways to reinforce that stuckness. And so I think that's one of the things that drives people a lot. The other thing is in particular with high performers and doing the emotional awareness work, one thing I hear a lot is they're afraid of getting stuck there. Well, if I open these doors, if I process emotions, if I go down, growing that space, then what if I get stuck in my emotions? And that's not the thing that allows me to get hyper focused and thrive today. I can't achieve the things that I need to achieve at my level while I'm sitting in sadness and depression and anxiety and whatever. And the thing that I highlight to them is, again, it's one brain, one database. And so it's, the analogy I use is it's like if I'm spilling a bottle of water, but I'm looking the other way. The longer I look the other way, the bigger mess I'm making. And so eventually when I look at it, there's just more to clean up. This idea of compartmentalization is false. And so you have a greater ability to control that the more you do lean into seeing what is in those cupboards and opening those doors and pulling things out of those shelves, rather than thinking that you've sort of tucked them away.
Shane and I shared a smile before when you were talking about non-emotional men, because Shane is the epitome of non-emotional.
That's not true.
High-performing men often get, especially the emotionally avoidant ones, get labeled as insensitive or narcissistic or emotionally detached or et cetera, et cetera. And what I have found is that on the contrary, they're hypersensitive and hyper-emotional. So just like they are hyper in their focus and in their drive, they're hyper in these other realms too, which is why they get so impacted by that space. So they do so much to shut that space down to achieve to succeed so optimally in this other space.
What if they are aware, but they don't lean into it, they avoid it? Then what? How do they begin that healing journey?
Then it is getting that support system, again, a pastor, a therapist, a coach, someone that has the right tools and training to be able to create this environment that allows you to feel safe enough to actually lean into that thing that you're afraid to.
What is your version of a 1% life? How are you striving to be a cut above the 99% in something in this lifetime of yours?
To live with deep intention, to stay purpose driven, to really maximize like every minute and squeeze the most juice I can out of every minute of time. And that doesn't mean that being time driven, I don't have downtime. It just means that when I have downtime, it's allotting for that time. When I have friend time, it's that time. When I have parent time, it's that time. You're coupling intention with my awareness of time.
Where can people find you? How can they connect with you? And what is the best way for them to get into your ecosystem?
The easiest way is my website, Work with Leila. It's Leila. So workwithleila.com or LinkedIn.